again, it goes back to like the mistakes I learned from in my first like career online. It got old pretty quick. Or been taught with like email. I email people twice a day. In between that transition, I was like, man, when I create something new, I want to have my ideal lifestyle in mind before I start the business, because I don't want to become a slave to the business, you know? So it's like, I want to design the business in a way that allows me to live the way I want to live.
Welcome back, guys. I am Scott Moran, the co-founder of SamCart.com, and I'm super excited to bring to you guys a creator CEO with Rock Eula from VidTrafficPro.com. Rock is an incredibly established creator, an incredibly accomplished person, someone who has a gold play button from YouTube, someone who has accrued millions of subscribers, who has accrued hundreds of millions of free organic views, 200 million organic views on YouTube, well more than 10 million on TikTok, just in very kind of like limited type stuff. He has been the driving force behind 5 different brands that have crossed 7 figures in sales. Rock is someone who's just an absolute complete badass when it comes to being a creator, being a marketer, being a salesperson, and we're pumped to have him. Rock, what's up, man? How you doing, dude?
What's up?
Awesome.
What's up, man? Glad to be back. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man, 100%, dude. Excited to just kind of dive in. All we're trying to do here today is just talk about what are you doing that powers what you do every day. You know what I mean? Like all creators are kind of in their own little silos, and they're always wondering what is everyone else doing and what's working and what's not. So, Rock, let's start with this, right? Let's start with this. What is like, what do you focus on right now? You know what I mean? Like, what are you, like, what main business or even like tasks in that business are you focused on right here, right now?
So right now, I would say the main company that I'm focused with is my language learning company. Specifically, our best like branch of it is teaching Spanish. But we do have some other training like that's more broad, just generic like language learning tips. But it's like everybody that comes to that wants to learn Spanish. So I really just dialed in on learning Spanish, especially since I speak that as a second language anyway. So that's my like main focus. That's what I'm in the day to day. And then of course, you know, I do a lot of consulting. Big companies like even way bigger than mine. So I love doing that. But I would say those 2 things are like the main things that.
So talk to me about that Spanish language thing. Like, what are you selling? You know what I mean? Like, what's out there? And I know you do some things way differently in terms of like, what's the first thing you're trying to get someone to do for you? We'll dive into that in a second. But just talk to me about like Spanish language stuff. What are you selling? Like, if you want to get into it, what price points? You know what I mean? It's like, is it an expensive company with a little bit of customers? Is it sort of like cheap stuff? You're getting a lot of customers. Like, what is that business?
I would say I come from a super like direct response marketing background. Like I've done consulting for like companies like Agora Financial. If anybody knows them, like they're like super hardcore. But pretty much like I came up around like the best copywriters like in the world. So I learned a lot just from some super smart people that are much smarter than me. And I've kind of used that model. We call it the Agora model, which is more of a lower ticket front end that we use to try to generate as many customers as possible on the front end. And for me, that's $67 is the product price that I sell. At Agora, we usually did like a 49, anywhere from like 49 to 79. But so 67 is my main product on the front end. And then I have like upsells, order bumps, which we can get into later. But so the primary focus of my sales system, I guess you could say, is to generate as many customers as possible. So it's a high customer, low front end type of business, you could say.
You know, so many people like, hey, watch my video on YouTube or watch this TikTok. And it's like, go join my newsletter, go download a lead magnet, go, you know, whatever. And they're giving away stuff for free to get people on their email list. You don't do that. Like, why not? And what do you do instead?
I'll try to simplify this as much as possible. Maybe not, but like for me, the most important thing is quality of the customer I can get on the front end. It's like I'm trying to get the most high quality customers I can on the front end. Like if my front end price was a little more expensive, I might get more quality, but I would have less customers. So it's like a very fine balance between trying to find the perfect amount of high quality customers, but getting in the most, you know? And like, in the past, it's crazy, like just a small difference in price. Like in the past, I tested like 47 versus 67, and they both were pretty much even. But the $47 customers refunded more, which was crazy to me. So I was like, I'm not doing that. Um, but I was shocked because it was just a $20 change. But of course, like you mentioned, like, yeah, the price, low ticket, all that's all really subjective. And I came from basketball, doing basketball training for kids where low ticket was like $10, $7. And the problem when you do a super low ticket, in my opinion, super low ticket and collecting free leads is that you're not building a list of high quality people that are going to engage with your emails because it's such a small barrier to entry. And I think like 67 is a good entry price. But for me, it's not just the price, it's actually the entire process of getting them on the list, because my process is like a long form copy. So like I said, I come from long form kind of background. So my main offer, the sales letter, is probably like 5,000 to 7,000 words. That's the first place people go. But it's not even a traditional sales letter. I kind of have just done things my own way, just taking everything I learned, but it's a mixture of like content. It's like a hybrid between content and a sales pitch.
It's funny because, you link there, correct me if I'm wrong, but like you link to these kind of longer text sales letters, stuff like that, straight from YouTube, straight from link in bio, straight from whatever. And then it's like, it feels like another YouTube video. You know what I mean? The way you're doing it, teaching and sharing and stuff like that, like I'm not surprised. Like, what would you say to people who are going like, I don't use these longer sales letters because like no one reads those? Like, clearly that's not right. You're doing great. You know what I mean? But like, what would you say to that person?
I mean, I would say to go look at the companies like Agora Financial, these are companies bringing in like hundreds of millions, maybe billions of dollars a year, and all their stuff is long form. Like, so, but yeah, so I kind of had the idea because I built my name up and always giving away great content on YouTube and stuff. And I was like, well, what if instead of just having like, slimy sales pitch, long form sales letter, that's super aggressive, it's not aggressive at all. It's like giving them real information, real tips. And this makes people like come back to the sales letter just to get the tips, or share the sales letter with other people, because the pitch isn't really that hard until we get to the pitch part. Then I get like a little more aggressive, but prior to that, it's like typical sales letter. But instead of generally how most people do is like explain like, oh, this new opportunity and all that, it's like just giving them 3 tips.
And you're just drawing people in. I mean, and I think that fits your premise too, clearly, right? Is like, you're not looking for anyone, you're looking for the right people. And like the right person is like going to be drawn in and keep reading. It's going to be excited or willing to kind of go through and read all that kind of stuff just to get to your pitch and then be really excited to buy. And clearly that's working for you.
And I'm glad you kind of brought me back to the whole main point of question was the quality of the lead. So this is something I want to explain is on my process is when you go through the sales letter and you get to the add to cart button. So I guess technically you could say I collect leads, because before they get to the order form, I make them give me their name and their email. The reason I do this isn't necessarily to collect leads, but it's more of it allows me to retarget people for free through my email list. So it's like, there's no engagement other than as soon as they enter their name and their email, they go straight to my order form. So it doesn't take them out the process or anything, but now they're on my list. So now if they don't buy, then like 3 hours from now, I can follow up with them and say, hey, you forgot to finish your order type of thing. But so at the same time, now think of the leads I have on my list. I either have customers on my list, or I have someone that read through my whole sales letter, clicked the add to cart, clearly wanted to sign up because they entered their email and first name, but maybe just didn't purchase. So even if they didn't purchase on day one, it's still a super high quality lead, you could say.
That is a crazy high quality. I mean, knowing that every single person that hopped on, I mean, like we talk about this all the time. I always say that in today's world, like it's 2023, like this is whatever. is that I would take one customer over like 25 freebie seekers. You know what I mean? Like I always tell people should be thinking about growing their customer list. And you've taken that to the extreme, which I think is freaking awesome. So talk to me about this. You're selling something that's your front end price, you said is $67. You know what I mean? But I know you don't stop there. Like obviously you use SamCart. We see what you're doing every day, that kind of stuff. But you're tapping into what we call expansion revenue, right? Where it's not just, hey, you're going to spend $67. Here you go. See you later. You know what I mean? You're giving people smart, sharp ways to go and spend more money. Like what are those customers worth to you? You know what I mean? They're spending a 67, 67 is the minimum, but it's like, what is your average order value after that's all said and done?
Yeah, this is a great question because it's like essential, especially if you're going to be running like paid advertising that like the back of your hand. So my average customer is about $95. I have an order bump on the front end. So when they buy, I give them an opportunity to take the $9.95 membership, a $9.95 a month, I should say. So we have a good number of people in that, which is great because it gives us like a base type of revenue every single month. Now it does get kind of limited because you got people leaving and coming, but once you find like your base, like you're pretty good there. And then I just have one upsell of $97. And I mean, that converts depending on the traffic source, but usually somewhere like, I would say anywhere from 15 to like 30%, depending if it's coming from colder traffic or warmer traffic. So that'll get you around an average customer around like $95. So now I know like when I'm running Facebook ads, it's like, as long as I'm getting customers for around $95, even if it's like 105, I'm happy with that because then I have future products that I sell.
That's a great way to talk about. Oh, and by the way, like for anybody who's selling recurring memberships, like Rock, I'm not going to try and give away too much here, but Rock was saying, okay, cool, I'm selling 67, but then I've got an order bump for a membership, and your membership was cheap, right? You said it's $9.95. It's basically $10, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that stuff compounds over time, everybody. Rock, you made about a quarter of your income this year came from that little order bump, just letting people say, cool, I would like to join this membership.
That order bump is literally like the actual product in that order bump is simply me doing screen cap videos like once a week, breaking down like just for my Spanish business, I'm breaking down a live video of somebody speaking Spanish. So it takes me like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And here's something interesting too was I used to do a free trial into $9.95 a month, but Stripe for some reason was like, you can't do this or whatever. And I was mad at first, but then it ended up helping me because the stick rate was longer because we actually had people that were saying like, yes, I want to pay $9.95 right now. And so it actually increased our stick rate, which that was shocking. You know, sometimes you have things that shock you, but that was pretty shocking.
That is bonkers. I mean, it's funny too, but it's the same idea, right? Like we're still coming back to that same concept of like, you're not looking for anyone, you're looking for quality. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, that person's quality. Like, yeah. It's not that much money. You know what I mean? Do you really need a free trial when it's $10? Like, it's like that much.
And I would say dialing in this process of getting better, just leads all across the board. It makes my email marketing, that's my main driver of revenue after the front end. All my emails like perform, just deliver better because I'm only emailing customers or super high quality
leads. Yeah, dude. I mean, listen, and in today's game, like, and Rock, you've been doing this about as long as we have too. You know what I mean? Like, I remember back in the day, it was always like, grow your list. And then like what happens is people would end up like, even people who win would have these big lists, but like no one cares. No one's opening your emails. Like, and then what does that do? It hurts your deliverability on all those other emails. So you're not in primary, like, and exactly. Dude, I mean, it's like
snowball effect either way. And I would say that's a big mistake I made in my first like online career, like as a basketball trainer and it's just everything we were taught, right? And that's what I was taught. Just build. It's all about leads, promote having millions and millions of leads and getting leads and creating millions of products and selling but that is just not sustainable because the second you want to stop creating new products or the leads don't really last long. Like they're quick, churn, just regular emails,
Yeah, heck yeah. Let's go back to that Facebook ads thing for a second too, because you said something super, super powerful that a lot of people miss. Is you're saying you're basically you have a conversation about CAC to LTV, right? So CAC is CAC is cost to acquire. What does it cost you?
Yeah.
I go to Facebook. How much does it cost me to get one of these buyers for this $67 offer you got, right? And then
Yeah.
you're taking that and you're looking at, okay, what does it cost me to acquire them versus what do I get out of their lifetime value, right? Because a lot of people, what you just said was, you said, I'm
Mhm.
getting customers. It's a $67 product. I'm adding another $30. I'm growing their average order value by 50% on average. You know what I mean? Taking them up to, they're spending about $100 a pop. So you're saying I'm willing to go to Facebook and spend up to $100 a pop just to get the customer in the door. So you're not even profitable then. A lot of people would look at that and go, okay, cool. Facebook ads doesn't work and power it down. But you're saying, that's awesome. That makes total sense. Why does that make sense for your business?
So I am profitable on the front end. I'm just
Right.
saying
Okay.
that I
In the
would take
hypothetical situation where
$100.
let's just say that's where it was. Yeah.
Yeah. But right now, I'm getting like $40 to
Awesome.
$50
Yeah. Let's go.
customers from Facebook.
So you're making money now, but let's just say it was break even. It
but
was 1-to-1. Clearly,
yeah,
you don't care.
but let's just say, I don't care because I'm building a good list and I have higher ticket back end products that convert, pretty well. So, and this also helps for scaling Facebook ads because obviously not all my ads do well. So I might have an ad set that's getting $50 conversions, but another one that's getting 100. But in purposes of scaling, I'm still going to leave the one that's getting 100, just because I'll still take those customers, so.
I love that. I love that. So it's not a one product business. Like how many different things in the Spanish world, how many different offers do you have that your customers could buy? Like if somebody came in and just said, I want everything you got, how many is that?
So I kind of do like an exclusive type of style for my business. So you can't really buy all my products at once. Mainly it's that main offer, then you're on my email list. But I do have like 4 main products that I sell. But every time I sell them, it's like the urgency and scarcity is just already ingrained into it because like this is your only time to get it this year. Because I don't really, so how my promo schedule is like this, like every other month I sell to customers, and then every other month, like the off months, not those months, I email the lead that haven't purchased yet and just try to get them in my main product.
So every month you've got something. This one is customers to buy more. And then the off month is leads to become customers.
Yep.
And you just flip through that.
Exactly. So for example, like January, I always love to start January with like my highest ticket product because everybody's like new year, new me. I want to learn Spanish this year. So I have like a 6-week workshop. Now, obviously this is like more hands-on. So I can only do this for 6 weeks. And I tell them like, hey, this is the only time we do this every year. And so it gets really like people like really want to be in it. So like January, I'll do this workshop. That's $395. So that's like my most expensive product on the back end for this market. It's $395. Then in like February, I would just, I won't even email customers. And that offer that I just did would be only to customers because I only want customers in that workshop because I don't really want to deal with people that don't really know me and haven't got any of my products because it's more hands-on. And in February, I'm just doing like a flash sale, 4-day flash sale to my main front-end course to people that haven't purchased yet. So these are like all retargeting people basically like, hey, and then March, I'll come back with another product for customers only. So it's just this constant turning customers into repeat customers and turning non-customers into customers.
Dude, brilliant. I freaking love that. All right. Brings me to my next question. And this is one that I feel like we get a lot from VIPs that are coming into SamCart's world. They're joining our VIP program. And so many of them ask this question. It's so funny because no one knows what everybody else is doing. How often are you emailing your list? I'm on your list. I know it's different, customers or leads, something like that. But let's just say I'm on your list. I'm on your list for 30 days. How often are you talking to me?
So firstly, when you opt in, and let's say you don't buy, let's just first start with non-customers. You'll get like 3 follow-up emails from me within the first 2 days. So I'll hit you up like 3 hours after if you don't buy, like, hey, you forgot your order. Then like, I think then it's 19 hours and then it's 24 hours. So, I'm basically hitting you up 3 times. If you don't buy, then you just kind of go to my bucket of 9 customers. Then I'm only emailing those people every other month, and I'm emailing them 5 times. So I have like the 4-day promotions and I just keep it simple that like, I just do this so I don't have to think about it. Honestly, it's just like robotic process for me. So I email them like, let's say the promo is like Thursday to Sunday. So Thursday, I'll send 1 email, Friday, 1 email, Saturday, 1 email. Last day, I always do 2 emails. So if you're not a customer, you'll get, I guess in the first 30 days with me, you might only get 3 emails. It depends like which month you come in, or you might, yeah. And customers, I only email them, and customers actually ask me like, why you don't email enough? But
that is a damn good problem to have, dude. Your customers are asking you to email more. That is an awesome problem.
And I've even done a survey because I was going to do like a newsletter and ask like, do you want to hear from me once a month, once a week, 3 times a week? And the highest was like, we want to hear from you 3 times a week. And I was like, I'm not. Customers, basically the same thing. Like I'm emailing every other month, 5 emails. Actually, it might be a little more than that for customers, because before I do a promo, I will kind of warm up the customer list. So I always will send like 1 or 2 just really good emails, no links, no pitch, just kind of explaining the big idea for that product, why they might want that product, who it's for. I really just lay out everything for them. And then, so I do that like, let's say 3 days before the promo. Let's say I'm going to do the promo on a Thursday. So like the Friday before, I'll tell them like, yo, next week we're launching this. And then like on Monday, I'll resend that to people that haven't opened. And then on Wednesday, I'll email like, hey, tomorrow we're going live with the product. We're like opening enrollment for this product. It's only open once a year. And then everybody just gets hyped, and then I do the promo.
I love that. It's awesome. So relatively light. I mean, it's awesome. I like how it's strategic. You know what I mean? You're not just broadcasting or whatever, but it's also not, it's super intentional. Like there's no one on your list who's not going to hear from you forever. You know what I mean? You're not going months without talking to somebody. Like you're really strategic and making sure you are talking to people, but also keeping it light. I love that. That's awesome.
I'll just explain like how I came about this process. Again, it goes back to like the mistakes I learned from in my first like career online. And it was like, it got old pretty quick. I was emailing, like when I was doing basketball training, I was emailing. Again, it's just everything I had learned or been taught was like email. I email people twice a day, flash sales like every week. And in between that transition, I was like, man, when I create something new, I want it to be like, I want to have my ideal lifestyle in mind before I start the business, because I don't want to become a slave to the business, So style now gives me so much free time to be creative, because that's where you can really be creative, when you have more free time. So, unless you have like a big business like you guys, where you can have like hundreds of employees, unless you have that, but if you're running a smaller, like creator CEO type business, like I am, I'm just doing everything. It's like, I want to design the business in a way that allows me to live the way I want to live. So sure, I might be leaving some money on the table here or there, but
dude, I love it. You talked about that beforehand as
that.
we were talking about, things we wanted to hit on. You were talking about the idea of starting with the lifestyle you want, working backwards from there, right? And like for everyone who's watching this later on, Rocky is literally on a plane tomorrow to go to Sicily and just hang out with his wife and drive around Sicily. So you're clearly got it figured out, my man. I love that. Yeah. Talk to me about this. I'm sure the next question a lot of people will be thinking, listen to this later, is like, okay, do you have any employees? Is it literally just you? Like what, let's start there. Do you have any employees or outsource folks that you hire that work with you?
Yeah. So I have 2 specifically. One, you guys know Marco, who does social media for me. He's a social media genius. So I've been working with him for like I started with him in basketball dang near like over 10 years ago when he was probably like 16. Um, so he's like really good friend of mine. And so he's one of my contractors. And then my sister does customer support for me. And I literally just hired her like maybe like 3 or 4 months ago.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome. Yeah, yeah.
my wife's like, you're making all this money. Like, why are you still doing support? She's like, why are you still doing support, bro? Like basically. And I'm like, why am I still doing this? So I told my sister just had a baby. So she had left her job because she had a baby and she doesn't really want to like work full time yet because her baby's
Yeah,
still only 1 year old. But she's like, now
yeah.
she wants to start getting back into work. So I was like, all right, you can do support for me. And she helped me with support years ago in basketball, like when
Right.
she was
Yeah,
in
yeah.
college and stuff. So she already kind of knew what to do. So it was a quick learning curve.
That's sick because that's your sister doing the same thing, right? That's your sister's like she's picking her lifestyle and what she wants to do, right? It's like and kind of working backwards. I love that. That's awesome. So that parlays into the next question is another one we get all the time, right? Is clearly you have only hired and not even necessarily like built a full like because you're not like W-2. It's not like your employees and you're building a company or whatever, right? Like, but the like what do you consider like the core tasks that like you will never give up and what kinds of things are you willing to outsource? You know what I mean? Like that's people ask all the time is like, when should I hire a creative director? Or when should I hire a designer? Or when should I hire like someone for ads or like use a whatever? Like what tasks do you think are like super core? You should always be doing them yourself. And what are you willing to pass off to somebody else?
I would say first, like I liked doing everything myself just because like that's the type of person I am in the beginning. Especially like a lot of people, like even when my wife asked, like, why are you doing support? It was tedious. And that's one thing that I'll say, like, if you find something tedious that you can give away, like, then you should. But at the same time, doing support helped me. Doing it for like 2 years myself just really helped me because I was reading every question customers had, every complaint they had, and it really helped me just fully understand the audience, which I think really helps me now with marketing to this specific audience. But when it comes time to start hiring people, it's yes, the things that number one you might not like doing. Like this is one reason why I like have taken ads more serious, and I would say my business has done even better in the past few months. Just from like this year, I was like, you know what, I'm going to take advertising more serious because I was like, that's really the only way I can go to the next level. As much as I love organic, like organic's great and all, but I mean, like, and that's why like with advertising, I wanted to figure out how could I make advertising kind of organic. But like, so customer support, that's the first thing I think anybody can kind of start hiring people for because it's the easiest thing to kind of step away from. Social media is not as easy if you don't have someone like Marco that really knows what he's doing. So I'm fortunate to know him and he knows it better than I do. And he's like few people that I think knows it better than I do. But even like my TikTok that grew so big, like I was filming, editing, and uploading all my videos pretty much.
And you were prolific. You pumped out a lot of content.
I did, man. Every single day I was uploading. I've kind of slowed down because again, it just ties back to my lifestyle. Like, man, don't be a slave of TikTok, which I was becoming a slave of it, but it was fun. It was kind of like an experiment for me to just like prove like, yeah, I really know this. Like I've done this in all different industries, like with myself as the face. So like, I'm not going to say, oh, I helped this person do this and help. No, I did it myself. Like, and
it is you center camera. That's for sure. And apparently behind the camera and in the recording studio and the production studios. It's awesome. I love that.
But so I started delegating. So once I had the TikTok formula down, then it was like, okay, now I can edit these, give them to my friend Dottie, who's the videographer. And I would just show him my TikTok and like, hey, create all these vids. I'm filming create them just like this. And then he would just do it. So it's easier to delegate when you know like what you're doing yourself, like Like people want to delegate marketing and copywriting, but you can't, how can you delegate that if you don't know what good copy is? Like, I'm going to know if they're giving you good copy. So
I think that's the flip side of that coin is what is the stuff you'll never give up, right? And I'm sure I know your answer. I'm sure you're saying you'll never give up marketing, copywriting, writing ads, writing content, like emails.
I would never give
love
up
that.
emails. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I would never give up things that I have the direct connection with my customers. Emails is like the one thing I would never give up. Ads, advertising, like writing the ads, scripting, even filming and editing the ads. And it's like how I feel when I create ads is like a videographer's not in my head when I'm creating this. Like as good as they may be, they don't really see the vision that I see of it. So those are the things that I probably would never get. And ads are easy because I'm only creating like 1 or 2 new ads.
There's another.
Month,
okay, so we'll do 1 or 2 more questions. Then we got some like rapid fire ones to wrap up with you. But this has been awesome. Is you just said you create 1 or 2 new ads a month.
All right.
I know a ton of people show up to us all the time, and they say, "Oh my gosh, dude, I can't do ads because it takes too much time." Right? Because they're constantly pumping out new video, new video, or new text, new whatever, and they're just like these ads die in 11 seconds. You know what I mean? They make nothing and whatever. And it's just sucking up so much of my time. You clearly, and I know this because I've seen a lot of your stuff, you know what I mean? What is it about your ads and even really your offers that you have like, you've been selling the same front end offer in your Spanish business for like 4 years? Like, has it changed? It's basically identical, right? And like, and your ads run for way longer than most people's ads. Like, what do you think you're doing that makes that possible?
I'm still running the same ad from like 4 years ago. Like I've set up like new ad sets every now and then. Like I feel like when you have a good product and good offer, like all you need is like one ad, one product, and that's it. And if you just got to make that work. And then once it works, it's like, why would I ever go away from it? Like, sure, I'm going to test new hooks for ads. And usually a hook for me is like even based on the way it films. So I said that would help me and hurt me sometimes because sometimes I get like, when something's working, I don't like touching it. But sometimes I miss out on opportunities to get better results. For example, like I had been running like the same ads on Facebook forever. And I'm not going to say they were dying, but cost was getting like, okay, I was getting consistently like $80 to $100 conversion. And I recently got a Facebook ad rep and he was like, you should try a new ad. I was like, man, I don't want to, but I was like, I tried a new ad. And I was like thinking, I'm like, man, let me think like what's some of the best things I work on TikTok? And that's one good thing of doing a lot of organic is you start to understand what works, what people like. People always like my skits that I do in Spanish. So I was like, all right, that's a good hook. Let me do a skit. And the first day I did it, like my sales boomed and I was no BS. I was getting $25 cost per conversion for $95 customers, bro. It was insane. So so that really opened the door. And that's what I say now is like where I've taken ads more serious because I'm like, wow, like just one change like this can just transform the business. Whereas organic is great and it's like great for the long, you're just building a catalog of like content, but it's like with ads, like if you do one simple change, you can just transform your business.
That's nuts, dude. I freaking love that so hard. Yeah, I mean, I think the big takeaway for people listening should be like, you're prolific with organic content, so you know what works when it comes time to make an ad. Your best, like, is it fair to say like your best organic stuff is what then becomes good ads?
Definitely the ideas. So and here's the thing, like my main ads, every ad I do, it has basically the same pitch, like, because it doesn't change. Like in language learning, right? People have tried to learn languages. They struggled. They learned in school. They failed. So I'm going to show you something that will actually help you learn. That's like the main pitch. And it's always the same. The only change is like my hook where I'll do a skit and then I'll be like, hey, is this you? Well, if you struggle, blah, blah, and get into that same pitch. So once I have it allows me a lot of freedom taking hooks from organic videos that worked, different style, whether it's a skit, whether it's just a format, like a teacher student type of format, which is, I guess, another type of skit. But Yeah, organic helps a lot with that because it's not even when you're creating yourself, but it's the research that you're putting in the organic process that helps you see what other great people are doing, what's working. So it's not just you. I might get an idea, not even from a video I did, but just from watching somebody else. And I'm like, oh, I like that. How can I implement that into organic video? That was always what I would say before. But now it's like, how can I incorporate that into an ad? So
Love it. Friggin' perfect. I love it. All right. So we got some like relatively fast hitting questions we'll wrap up here with, right? Let's do, what do you think, like, we call them, like, you're a creator CEO. You know what I mean? Creator CEO is the relatively solopreneur, maybe a small team or something like that, but someone who's running a 7-figure brand, right? And it's lifestyle first and not the other way around. You know what I mean? Like, most people aren't sitting there like SamCart has 130 employees and yada, yada, right? The opposite of you is not me. It's the opposite of you is a hobbyist, right? So what do you think is like the biggest single thing hobbyist creators get wrong? That's somebody who's doing like, they still have a full-time job, but they're succeeding. Like, they're making money, they're doing whatever, but like they still have a job. This is like a night thing for them. You know what I mean? What is that person getting wrong? If you had to pick like one thing.
I would say that person they're probably jumping around too much. And I only know this because I was a hobbyist before, like jumping around too much. I mean, yeah, you and Brian can attest to this too. It's like jumping around too much because you're always like, there's never enough information for you. You're getting, oh, you should do a webinar. You should do this funnel. You should do that funnel. You should do this product, that product, this ticket, that ticket, like high price, low price. So it's like not sticking to just something. I mean, anything can work. Like, I do low ticket, but I could probably do a higher ticket, like webinar funnel, and make it work, you know? But so I would say sticking to that, like finding. So if we just simplify everything, the simplest thing is like like create one really good product. I feel like you have to start there because from there you can create your sales pitch and all that. But if you have one really good product, then you could test different sales methods if you want. But find one really good product idea, create the product as best as you can, and then like pick one source of traffic to just master. So just everything one traffic source, one product, one sales style, whether you're going to do a webinar or a book funnel or anything, but just stick to like one of each.
I love that for sure. All right. Love that. Second question. We just did, again, we talked about that 2023 creator profit report, just a bunch of data from the SamCart database. And we found that the highest converting traffic sources in order were email, right? Website. So people on your email list, people coming from your website. And then like a distant third was Facebook, then Instagram, YouTube, and like way, way down the list is TikTok, right? Is that kind of stuff. What is with all those included, including email and whatever like that, what do you think is your most profitable traffic source?
Most profitable by far would be email. Because once they're on my list, like I'm not paying for them anymore. Second by far is Facebook. So, email and Facebook are probably like 95 and 5, which has changed for me because I just started taking Facebook serious. Yeah, before it was email. Email is always going to be up there, I feel. Before it was email, YouTube, TikTok, and I wasn't really doing anything on Facebook.
That's crazy. Even after all these years, to see Facebook up there honestly surprised me. I thought Facebook would have been lower down the list and like hot stuff like TikTok or something like that. TikTok was like basically the bottom, which is wild. Was that your experience too? Like you did a lot on TikTok, you succeeded, but you kind of moved away from it. Was it because it wasn't working or like, you know, like what was that like?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's just so hard. It's even getting hard on YouTube, and this ain't going to help me because I teach like YouTube training and everything, but this whole new algorithm, right, of short videos, which TikTok mastered, and then everybody wants to do it with Reels and YouTube Shorts. It's just making it very difficult to get customers to your website because there's really nowhere. And that's what the platforms have mastered, is keeping you on their platform. It's really difficult to bounce people to your website. And now the videos are only all the popular videos, like even YouTube now, long videos aren't even getting as much views anymore. It's just all shorts. in a minute, you can't really give good content and tell somebody go to your website. I feel like pitching on short videos like is even frowned upon by people that watch short videos. Companies like YouTube and so, I mean, I guess they're smart with keeping you on their platform. They're probably making more money. But yeah, as creators, it's even more difficult on TikTok, on YouTube, because like TikTok for say, why is it so low? The only place to put a link is in your bio. Like who's really clicking person's profile, going to bio, especially if you don't have a call to action. Like,
nah, it's not how it works. Definitely not how it works. Love that. All right. So what is, we got 3 more for you. What is the most expensive thing you've ever sold?
yeah, online, the most expensive thing I've sold is probably like $10,000 in the internet marketing space, whether we used to do like small events, or like, and we did like high ticket YouTube help where we would like get people in and help them like with their YouTube. So like 5 to 10,000.
Dig it. Yeah. For like a quick like consulting gig.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Dig it. That's good. That's a pretty good margin, man. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What are you looking at for the future? I mean, what kind of stuff are you thinking like this is where the ball's going and I'm researching and learning all I can about?
Good question.
Whatever.
The future, I mean, for me, I have like my Spanish business pretty much set. So it's always just trying to bring in more people at a cheaper price. So I'm always going to stay on top of Facebook ads. I'm always going to study like even seeing SamCart's ads or seeing for smart people, like like Amy Porterfield's ads, like just really smart people. I will look at their ads because you would assume it's working if they're spending money on it. Just I study ads a lot. I still read like copy, just always, it's like, just sharpening your knife, it's like every day I just read some copy just to stay on top. But
you are always the dude recommending copywriting books to me. Like that is always what I can count on Rock is you've got some new copywriting thing that is going to be freaking gold. If you had to recommend one copywriting book for someone who wants to get better, not writing for content, not writing for entertainment, but writing for sales and persuasion, right? That's the definition of copywriting. Like,
so I'll give 2 books because I have to. So one would be Flip the Script by Oren Klaff. It's a really great book for sales. These are more sales books. And Influence, of course, by Robert Cialdini, which is like, that's a classic where you learn weapons of persuasion. But when it comes to actually writing copy, like I don't really read copywriting books. I'd rather read copy. Like I would rather, like if I'm learning copy and I know someone like SamCart has great copy, then I would read all their sales copy. And like, for me, I know Agora has the best copywriters in the world. So I always just read their copy because I know like these copywriters are like making millions. It's like, so, and when you start doing that, you see it's all the same, like it's all the same structure, just different arguments, different ideas, but it's all the same structure every time. So if you follow that structure, you'll probably be successful.
I love it. I always point to infomercials are so funny, Rand, because like every infomercial you've ever seen, they're all the same. They're identical. And everybody bags on them because they're dumb and they're shot poorly and they got like weird things that like, people doing dumb things, but they work and they work like crazy. You know what I mean? It's like everybody should be paying attention.
Bro, copywriting, like long form copy that Agora does is the same way. Like you might read it and be like, how does anybody buy this? But if you look at how much money they're making, you'll be like, oh my God, like how.
I love that. And I think when you combine that, like the good structure with what you have of like the knowledge of your audience, because you were reading, I know you're always in YouTube comments, you're always in, you're answering your own customer support until recently, like, you're always in it. You combine those 2 things. And I think that's where the magic really sits.
Yeah, exactly. It's taking, like, I'm not saying read Agora copy and then be as aggressive because they're super, super aggressive. Like I would never be that aggressive with my audience, but you can take how they do how do they shift beliefs? How do they build authority in their sales letter? How do they present the offer? Where do the bonuses come in? What's their guarantee look like? Like take those things and put them into your sales letter or your.
Heck yeah. Love it. Rock, one last question for you. What is the first thing you're going to eat when you land in Sicily tomorrow?
First thing, cannoli for fact.
Getting a cannoli. Let's go. Got cannoli.
I mean, Sicily is the home of the cannolis, bro, and I love cannoli.
All right, I'm definitely gonna need some pictures of that. I'm a big time cannoli guy, so I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need that for sure. Awesome. Well, guys, this has been Rocky Eula. Guys, if you want to get more into Rock's world, you want to dive in, you want to get in his head, you want to see his copy, head over to vidtrafficpro.com. We'll put it on the screen, put it up here, links in the show notes or whatever. But vidtrafficpro.com, you guys can get, that's Rock's list where he's talking about marketing stuff. He's talking about what he's doing every day and what he's learning. And then of course he's got, other brands you guys can kind of dive in. You'll find from there. But Rock, super appreciate it, dude. Always an awesome time just diving in and getting into your brain and sharing all this stuff. This is a freaking super, super valuable hour, dude. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely had a lot of fun. And I'll just say that if you go to VidTraffic Pro, like if you go to opt-in, it says like for a YouTube money map, but even if you don't want to learn anything about YouTube, that's like the only way to get on my list. So if you want to be on the list,
just hop on the list. You guys, I've seen the emails, Rock sharing awesome stuff. This is 100%. If you liked the hour we just spent, you're going to love getting emails when he hits the inbox there, man. So definitely go check that out. Rocky, fly safe, brother, man. Appreciate it, dude.